See, like, I feel like the thing that confuses me about this bracket is like my bracket's not that bad, but like it is at the same time.
I mean,
Like, does
you
that
still
make
have your
sense?
winner. Yeah, you still have your winner. So like you're technically still alive.
Well, I have three
So
of the four Final Four teams too. I have Illinois.
yeah. So all right, let me pull this up.
Do you want me to
All
bring it
right.
in? Are we good to bring this in?
Yeah.
All right, we're back. I thought we recorded last week. I figured out earlier today that we did not record last week via Noah because I don't know. I don't know what I thought. He like texted me and said, "What time tonight?" And I went and looked to see what the last video got views wise and noticed that there wasn't one and we just didn't record and I don't know. So yeah, so we're back, but Noah is going to take over the conversation right away about college basketball and our brackets. We were just in the middle of talking about it, so go ahead.
All right. So Steve has this bracket challenge for all of us. I want to say it's what, 25 people?
27 people. I worked hard on
27
it.
people. Everybody picks a team, ESPN, yada yada yada. So right now, I'm trying to get to I'm trying to pull up the rankings. So right now we got Andrew Ford in first, and I'm tied for second. Andrew has Utah or has Houston. I have Houston. I think just by that alone, I'm already out because him and I
Yeah.
also have the same Final Four, and he's
Yeah.
already um, ahead of me.
So
So
you can't win.
I cannot win. I'm technically eliminated.
Yeah.
So Steve, you pretty much need Creighton to win in order for you to win. So my Final Four, I have me and Andrew's Final Four is Houston, North Carolina. It's UConn, North Carolina, Houston, Creighton, and then Steve's got
I have
for it.
Illinois.
Yeah.
I have Alabama. I had Kentucky. They blew it. And then Creighton. So I got 3 of the 4.
So you're technically still alive and can technically win the whole thing if
So
Creighton
what
wins.
what really can set me apart is if Illinois beats UConn. If that happens,
If that
I
happens,
I win.
I don't think so. No, because Andrew still has Houston and they're still alive. But you
Okay.
jump like way up.
Okay. So I need Houston to win. If Creighton wins, I win.
If Creighton wins the whole thing, you win
Yeah,
our
that's
our thing. And right now you're sitting in what spot?
I'm in 13th. So this is what these are the games that I have right now. I have Creighton over Tennessee and Gonzaga over Purdue. So those are going to be 2 big swingers for
Yeah.
me. And then um I have Alabama over North Carolina.
Okay.
So that would all be like big swingers for me this go around of games.
Yeah, if you get Alabama to win tomorrow, you are in a great spot. I would say you probably jump up a good bit if you get Alabama to win. And did you say you have Gonzaga?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you get those two to win and Creighton wins,
Like I'll be
I
up.
think I think it'll pretty much just be down to the wire between you and Air Ford because the
It's
next matchup
crazy.
is going to be Houston versus Creighton.
What's really crazy is that Nick was like in a commanding lead day 1 and now
Yeah,
he's underneath me like by 3 spots.
yeah. He had Wisconsin going pretty far. He had Florida going far, TCU going far, and I mean he had Wisconsin in his Final Four, which
Imagine.
I couldn't even imagine.
Imagine.
They played decent in the Big Ten, like in the Big Ten tournament, but like
Bro,
they weren't playing that well.
I didn't watch a lick of college basketball. A lick. And I just like was like, fuck it. I'm just gonna pick Creighton.
And see, that's the thing is like you can almost kind of get lucky just by the fact that like anything can happen. But I would say this year, from what I've been seeing on Twitter and just like what I've been watching, is it's been a lot of just the higher seed winning. So like so much chalk has been winning that it's not like Kentucky obviously lost. NC State ended up winning. Um, I mean, there was a couple games that came down to the wire. Creighton played Oregon in double overtime. Like Creighton almost lost that game. I'm trying to think of anybody else here. Like, other than that, it's pretty much been like the higher ranked teams are pretty much handling business. Like Illinois, I know that I had Duquesne, I think maybe winning 2 games in another bracket, and they got smoked by Illinois. Northwest or UConn's winning every game by 20. North Carolina's winning every game by double digits. I had Grand Canyon in my or I had Alabama losing kind of early in my one bracket. And then like I thought the Duke James Madison game was going to be a little closer. It was a 40-point game.
Rough
and
game.
Purdue has just been the thing with Purdue is that they're always super good in the regular season, which is why they end up getting a number 1 seed. But when they come to the tournament, they end up just completely shitting the bed. They lost last year to St. Peter's, that small school from New Jersey, in round 1, a 1-16 upset. But the last time that happened was Virginia versus UMBC, which is University of Maryland, Baltimore County. That happened back in like 2016, 2017, and Virginia ended up winning the next year. So like it's not a bad situation for Purdue, but they have a tough, like I think Creighton's going to be a tough matchup. Oh my gosh, whose bracket am I looking at right now? Because they had McNeese State going. Jesus,
Bro, whoever picked McNeese,
I think it's Nick. But yeah,
whoever picked
Purdue,
McNeese State was dumb. They played,
but the thing
nobody.
is it's so hard sometimes because teams can get like there's so much recency bias too that happens when a team plays well in their conference tournament. And I mean, looking back on it, I mean, Duke didn't play well in their conference tournament, and they're playing like I'm pretty sure Duke lost to NC State in the first round, and now they're in the Sweet 16. But every year there's also I've noticed that. So those 2 playing games are 16-16, 10-10, and I've noticed that normally one of those 10 seeds that win, whoever one of those 10 seeds are, they end up winning at least one game when they make it into that round of 64. And I think this year was Colorado. They ended up winning that first game, and then they played Florida, and won 102 to 100.
What a game!
That game was so. There was a cup. I did actually decently well gambling on some of these games over the weekend. Like I bet on any team to score over 100 on Friday, and 3 teams scored 100 or plus or 100 or more.
Nice.
I had a race to. So I've been using ESPN Bet because I had like some free bets and stuff, and they don't have race to 10 on there. So I took race to 20. But everybody that I was with took race to 10 and it lost. But my race to 20 ended up winning. So everyone was kind of pissed at me for that.
Bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. I smacked on Temple's money line, which I sent you, and I smacked on NC State's money line at both like plus 800, and I lost all of that money like so quick in the first day of the bracket, like, and I just. Bro, I was sick to my stomach and just like couldn't watch.
Dude, that's so rough.
I lost all of it, bro. I lost like $700 like in a blink of an eye. like I turned like $35 into like 700 betting on those 2 NC State and Temple and lost all of it in the first day of the first like 6 games of the NCAA tournament.
What were you taking?
The wrong picks. What do you mean? What was I taking? I took every wrong pick, bro.
Like, were you taking big like underdogs or like underdog spreads or?
I was betting money lines fat, and I kept losing.
That's yeah. Honestly, I took
Like
the
I
live
put
line of
$250 on Mississippi State,
I had who did they play? A&M?
Michigan State.
Michigan State. Yeah, I picked Michigan. I had Michigan State. I
It hurt,
picked.
bro.
I don't know. I feel like Tom Izzo in March always has those boys ready to go, except
Yeah, I
against
saw a
North
stat
Carolina.
afterwards that he's like never lost in the first round. Again,
Yeah.
and then he's like 27-2 against SEC teams. I'm like, okay, great. Like I saw all this like right after. I was like, okay, like whatever.
Bro, that's legit the worst feeling is putting a bet in and then they pull up a stat like 10 minutes into the game and you're like, well, fuck, if I would have known that was the case, I would have never bet on this team.
Yeah. I guess to round the conversation a little bit, I haven't watched March Madness in a few years. It feels like really watched it. I watched it because everybody like had money on it and stuff like that. The games are very difficult to watch. Like the timeouts suck. Like the TV timeouts are terrible. And the same thing with college halftime for football and college halftime for basketball. They're 40 minutes long.
It takes so long.
It's just like if they could figure out a way to like condense the TV timeouts and condense that halftime, I think it would be like a perfect Swift watch. But like the fact that it gets drawn out like so heavily, like I felt like some games, especially the blowouts, were like really tough to like get your head around.
Yeah, I mean, there was like I rattled off a couple games. Like Purdue, like I said, won every game by 20. UConn has been winning every game by 20. North Carolina won their first game by 20. Like, but that's what I expect that majority of the time for some of those early round games, just because those were all like 1s and 2 seeds playing 16 and 15s, and the talent level is like there's a reason that a 16 seed has only won 2 times against a 1 seed. It's because the talent level is just so much different. But obviously, what keeps some of these teams in it is just the ability to shoot the three. Like that kid from Oakland, Jack Conkley, I think his name is, that they were a 14 seed against Kentucky, and that kid had fucking 33 or something like that, and drilled like 11 threes.
You can't even get mad. Like I watched back some of the threes that he was making. It was just stupid. Some of the shots that he was throwing up and just nailing, like you can't even do anything about it. He was just ice. I mean, not even ice cold. He was just scorching hot. Like, and there was nothing they could do.
He was getting like a pin down and coming off a screen at the top of the key, and there would be like a guy trailing, and he would still just catch it, shoot it, and drill it. It was crazy. But that's like the cool thing about college basketball and like the March Madness is it almost feels like you're going to kind of get one of those situations where somebody just gets scorching hot and pulls off an upset like that. But it's too hard to predict which game it's going to be in. Like, I know that a lot of people had Kentucky winning and going far. I personally had them going pretty far. I thought they were pretty good. But then you run into a situation like that where a kid just gets scorching hot like that, and like there's nothing that you can do. Like the kid from Oregon did the same thing. He had like 30 and 30 in both their games. They lost the second one, but like he kept them in it the entire time, won them the game the first time. But yeah, that's like the cool thing about it. But
no,
we got the second.
Yeah, you're right, and I'm excited. I'm excited for this next batch of games because I actually think that they're going to be like pretty good. So I'm like excited to dive back in on this next batch and like see what happens. And my
Yeah.
bracket's very much alive.
Yeah, you're like that's another good thing too is you're alive. So there's another invested interest that you have in watching these games. I did a survivor pool, and there's like I don't even know 50 plus people in it,
Nice.
and I'm still alive. I want to try and pull up like the okay. I lied. There's way more than 50. There's 118 people in this.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
It's
and
insane.
yeah, it's crazy. I'm still alive in that though. So the way that it works is like you can buy yourself back in if you lose the first 2 days. It's 10 to enter, and then it's 10 if you lose to buy back in, and 10 again if you lose to buy back in. But um, so far, I haven't had to worry about that. I don't know if you can buy back in after those first 2 days though, but I'm not even going to worry about it. But so far, I've picked Gonzaga, Alabama, NC State, and San Diego. So like, I've got all my big dogs left, which is what you want to be in a situation like this. There's people that took like North Carolina on the first day. North Carolina. Let me see who else here. Like somebody took Arizona on the first day. Like Creighton on the first day.
I feel like you just take the low guys first, and then if you hit, then like you hit, and then you can keep going. Like,
Yeah, I think the strategy for this is don't take somebody like necessarily too low, but try to find like a middle area. Like this one person has picked Arizona, Houston, UNC, and Marquette. So like realistically, they
they're
probably think
done.
that Purdue or Creighton is going to win, and that's like
Yeah.
what they're hoping for, I guess. They still have Alabama, so they pretty much have to pick Alabama tomorrow. So that I mean that's a tough one, but I've got all the like the big dogs left. Like I said, like Gonzaga, I didn't think they'd make a deep enough run. Bama, they're still playing. NC State won and then lost. Wait, no, NC State's still in it, aren't they? Yeah, they're still in it. Sorry, but like they play Marquette, so that's a tough game. And then I got San Diego State, who actually looked nasty the other night when they played, but again,
Yeah.
that's not a
Sticks.
team that I think is going to win. They play UConn, so like
Yeah.
they have to play out of their mind.
I need UConn to lose. So
Yeah,
listen, I cashed out. I told you this. Like I cashed out massive on a UConn future last year, 5 to win $525. So
yeah.
like I like was. There's no reason for me to bet them 2 years in a row.
I mean, there is because I mean, I would say that if I had to pick somebody to win, I think it's going to be UConn. They're
But like
just so good.
that's like
I wouldn't pick them
That's
back to
like
back.
Colton when he texted me
I
and was
agree.
like, I low key
Low
have
key.
UConn winning. It's like, all right, dude, like sweet. You picked the odds on favorite to win your bracket. Like, what could go
Agreed.
wrong?
Yeah, like that's no fun when you're doing stuff like when you're doing like a bracket. Like if it's, I can understand if it's for like $100,000 maybe, or like
Dude,
an
if it was for
absurd
100,
amount of.
if it was for that much, like you got to take all the risks you can possibly take. I feel like the only reason to take like a true favorite like that is if you're like in like the work office pool and there's like
Fair.
15 people and they all put in $10. Like
Okay,
if you're
to
in
be
a
fair,
situation,
go ahead.
if you're in a situation where you can like win like a grand plus, like you need to take risks because that's the bracket that's going to win.
See, I think everybody kind of has that mindset though, is I don't want to pick UConn because I think everybody else might. And to be fair, not a lot of people picked. Yeah, not a lot of people picked. As many people as I thought picked UConn.
So
But
how many UConns do we have? We have 1, 2,
there's 7.
3, 4, 5. We have 5. Okay, you're
5.
right. Like there's variety in ours, but like we also have a bunch of like you can't compare the group of dogs that we have compared to a lot of the people out in the world. Like we legitimately have we combine 27 of the most lethal people like in the state of Pennsylvania.
And some not even in PA.
Yeah, some are in a different state. So I don't even know like exactly.
New York is on the map. I think Florida's on the map.
Florida, yeah. West Perry.
Arizona, Phoenix is on. Arizona's on the map.
Yeah.
So yeah, to be fair, me, Tyler, and Mark just did a 3-person one, and whoever loses, whoever wins, you just pay them $20, and theirs are so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I picked UConn to be fair, but
What, they picked all favorites, you mean?
I have UConn, Tyler has UConn, and Mark has Houston. But right now, I'm at 82.9%. Mark is at 21.8, and Tyler's at 19.5.
So you won.
I mean, it's looking good. It's
Yeah.
looking good, bruv.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, if Houston wins, then I might not.
that's fair.
But I might have that high of a lead that it might not matter. Like if UConn loses to Houston, I might be too far ahead to lose. So, all right.
Colton just sent me a video of Deshaun Jackson FaceTiming Andy Reid, and Andy Reid literally picks up first ring, like first ring of the FaceTime. Like such a funny video. Oh man. All right,
so,
dude. Well, what else you got going on?
So I think that's all I got for college basketball. I wanted to do you remember what trades we kind of talked about and whatnot in that last pod? I'm drawing a blank, but I have the list of trades that have been pulled up.
I think what you should do. I think we should do my mock that I tweeted out first.
Okay, if you want to pull it up, we can run through that. So this was there has been moves made since this mock draft. So
bro, so many moves that this isn't a true, but I like some of these picks. There's some players that I've definitely changed my mind on, to be fully transparent.
Okay.
Because I've been watching a lot more film on the wide receivers to get more of a feel. So first things first is Adonai Mitchell, I think is bad. Like you watch his film, and when he makes plays, there's stuff to get excited about, but all of like the real metrics and shit that matter that like go into like playing receiver, they're all time awful. So he's kind of a red flag on my list right now. So him automatically, I can see myself leaving him out of the first. And somebody else on this as well is Chop Robinson. I can see leaving myself out of the first, but go ahead with, you seem like that you had some ideas.
I just wanted to say that Adonai Mitchell was the guy. I believe I texted you about him after I read up. I was deep in the NFL draft Reddit, and I was reading up some things about him, and pretty much like he's got a few things that are worthy of getting excited about, but like all the things that all of the like advanced stats, and I'm never one that's like going to get too like
advanced stats too
much weight. Yeah, I'm not going to put too much weight on the advanced stats because I also think it's really important that you watch a player on the field. But
yeah, the advanced stats though, for people that don't know, is like average depth of target, average yard route run, like stuff like that. Like those are the types of stats that like people look at, and when they are poor, the receiver usually it does not excel at the next level. An example of a receiver that does exceed at the next level is like a DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf had a ton of red flags around his game. He fell to the second round. He ended up being really great. But go ahead with what you were saying.
Yeah. I was pretty much just going to say that, like, we saw Adonai Mitchell like make some plays for sure, but there was a lot of like of those advanced stats that were red flags that don't necessarily come up when you're going through an NFL combine. So I think that was a guy, like, I agree with you. After I read all of this stuff on him, I'd have to go back and find exactly what I read, but I remember texting you and being like, I think I'm really out on this guy because there was a point where I thought he might be better than Xavier Worthy because he wasn't like that speedster and he was a little bit bigger. So I thought there might be more potential for him there, but after reading up on him, I'm not really that sold on him anymore.
And real quick too, before we go into this mock, a player that I will be changing automatically is the Saints taking a tackle. Because their starting right tackle, Ryan, I can't say his last name. It's real crazy. He's going to have to medically retire because of his knee. And it feels like if that happens, it's like a no brainer that they're going to go tackle in the top 14. But let's go.
All right. Yep. Go ahead. Start us off.
So I rounded out. I think that, I mean, it's kind of a no brainer at this point. Caleb Williams is the guy. He's going number one, consensus, no argument at all. The argument now, go ahead. Sorry.
What did you think? I completely agree with you. I think it's out there. I think everybody knows that it's happening. I think he knows. I don't think Keenan Allen would have showed up to his pro day if it wasn't happening. What do you think about his pink phone case or his pink phone?
I think it's fun. I do think it's funny. Like, I thought that whole, I think what it is like, that's just who he is. And he's like unapologetic about it. Like, he doesn't care. Like, I saw
Correct.
Jack Mack tweet at him and he like tweeted back
Yeah.
at like Jack Mack. So like I'm fine with the fact that I don't care that he does it. What sticks out to me is that he is unapologetically himself. Like, if he was like firing back at people on Twitter being like, oh, like what the fuck, like blah blah blah, like he kind of takes the jokes, like takes it on the chest and just like moves on. No diddy. So
you have to be somebody that, if you're gonna have a pink phone and you're gonna paint your nails and wear a dress, like, and be that type of person, you have to be somebody that's gonna be okay with taking, like, people are gonna criticize you for that stuff. So like, you have to be okay with it. Like, you know what you're getting yourself into. You know you're the number one pick, so you're already under the craziest microscope. You were considered the best prospect to come out of college since Andrew Luck. So everything you do is going to be criticized, good or bad. Like,
and I think he
you think it's good or bad. Yeah, and I think he does too. So I also think it's just getting to the point where people are just like really bored, and there's not a lot of, like, obviously March Madness is on, but like, it seems like people are just getting like tired of Caleb Williams and don't have anything to talk about. But at the end of the day, he's nasty, and are just like, that's why people don't think he's going to be good, because
I think I said this. I said this to Andrew the other day. The Caleb Williams situation that he's walking into is going to be one, like, honestly, something that like we've never seen before. And I'm buying Bears stock this offseason. They went out and got Keenan Allen. They have DJ Moore. They have good weapons. They're probably going to add a receiver, whether it be in the first round or later on in this draft, and continue to build them up. The defense is really good. They were a 7-win team last year. They're adding a better quarterback and better weapons around him. I'm buying Bears stock. I think this is a very unique situation. I love Caleb Williams, number one to the Bears. Now the next one is like the biggest speculation ever, where everybody kind of seems to think that Jaden Daniels is going to go to the Washington Commanders. Complete smokescreen. We watched this happen last year with a few players where what's his name? CJ Stroud was falling to like 12 to 15 to the Raiders, like 10 to the Raiders, like things like that. Drake May is undoubtedly the number 2 quarterback like in this class. I don't think that there's much debate around it. And I think that a lot of it's smokescreen because we're in a situation right now where the media is going crazy. But at the end of the day, Drake May to the Washington Commanders, no doubt.
The thing that's been bothering me is that I'll see a tweet of something and it'll say, like, managers or general managers that know the Washington Commanders GM hear that he's going to take JJ McCarthy at 2. And then they run with that as if that's what's happening. And we've seen that line of where JJ McCarthy gets drafted drop from like 4,000 or 12,000 to like plus 400 for the number 2 overall. And I think that is the biggest like smoke show that has happened this offseason so far.
Yeah, it's the biggest smoke show of all time. And I'm going to go through the next two picks right here, and then kind of give you an analysis of why I think this is going to happen. Joe Alt to the Patriots, get a generational tackle. You add a quarterback to this team right now, it does nothing. You have Jacoby Brissett as a bridge player for 1 year. Go get your generational tackle and start building this team out. Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Cardinals. It makes absolutely zero sense for the Cardinals to trade back in this draft, get cute, and not get their guy. Go get your guy, give Kyler Murray a real weapon. You've stripped him away from everything. Go out and get Marvin Harrison Jr., the best receiver in this draft. Now, the reason why I think that this happens, because every single person is like, quarterback this year going 1 through 4. Quarterbacks are going to be off the board by 5. I went back to the last 15 years of the draft, and that has never happened.
I was just going to say that too.
1 through 4 of the NFL draft has never been quarterback. It's just never happened. So I don't understand why this year in a quarterback draft, where I consider this quarterback draft class kind of weak out of the top 2. And I think that people are going to realize that as this time plays out. So I think that the Patriots going and getting the best tackle in the draft and the Cardinals staying at 4 and getting the best wide receiver in the draft makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, I completely agree with you with your Notre Dame, with your Joe Alt from Notre Dame to the New England Patriots move. The only other thing is that I could see them doing is maybe taking Marvin Harrison Jr. But I don't think it makes. I'm planting my flag on. I don't think it makes sense for them to draft a quarterback in this current situation that they're in. They just need to get like best available player. So I mean, I could either see them taking Alt or Marvin Harrison Jr.
So now, as that plays out, obviously, number 5, this is a clear trade back spot for the Chargers. The Chargers have already came out. Everybody's pinning them to take a wide receiver. Jim Harbaugh has made it extremely clear that they are building a team, and it starts with the trenches. So they're going to be moving back and still being able to get a tackle with that 11th pick, or even later, how I have it rounded out. I see the Vikings moving up and taking Jaden Daniels at 5.
I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, who else is in their quarterback room right now? Sam Darnold?
Sam Darnold, yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've seen the Sam Darnold experiment these last few years as he's jumped from team to team and had to step in reduced roles. That guy's just going to be a backup for the rest of his NFL career. I don't understand why Colin Cowherd and friends have any. I understand he's young still, but we know what we're getting with Sam Darnold. He's a backup quarterback. That's all he's going to be. And I think that
great dude.
If you want to keep, great guy, great hair.
I hung out with him in Arizona, the coolest guy ever. So I don't if there's a snowball's chance in hell that he ever sees it, I wanted him to know that I stuck up for him. But keep going.
Hey, I'm not shitting on him. We just know what he is.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, I think maybe the only way that the Justin Jefferson situation is still up in the air. I don't know what's going to happen there. I think one of the best ways you figure out a way to keep him is you bring in a quarterback so you don't have to have Sam Darnold throwing him the rock. But I don't know.
Quick,
I'm just like trying to spitball here.
Can I comment on that like real quick? Like,
yeah,
the tweets that are like the Vikings front office said that Justin Jefferson has been very much involved with the quarterback scouting process. Respectfully,
you think Justin Jefferson put out a word to bring in Sam Darnold?
I love Justin Jefferson. I love Justin Jefferson. What the fuck does he know about scouting a quarterback? Like, all jokes aside, like you pay a lot of people to do this job. Like, I don't know if those reports are real or fake. I hope to God that they're not sitting there in the player empowerment era, the only team in the NFL to do it, and allowing Justin Jefferson to influence them what they do at quarterback. That's all I got to say about that.
No, I mean, like, we can scout quarterbacks from a perspective of we watch the NFL and we can say, oh, Mahomes is good. Oh, Joe Burrow's good. But like when you're doing it at a college level, and predicting if they're going to be good in the NFL, it's like so difficult.
And it's
So
not his job to do that. So, but
correct.
yeah, regardless, Vikings get QB. I'll speed run through these next few picks so it don't take forever.
Mhm.
6, I view the Giants as the same situation as the Patriots. Adding Malik Neighbors to their situation right now does not make them any better or any worse. Like, you just kind of throw Malik Neighbors into a situation where nobody can get him the football behind a bad offensive line. Fashanu kind of taken some heat over the last this draft process, but ultimately I think he probably lands here. It makes a ton of sense to me. I think that the Giants have to start rebuilding the trenches, and they get Fashanu. Next pick, the Titans kind of made all in moves around Will Levis. The only thing that's still in question is their offensive line. Makes all the sense in the world for them to take a tackle. Which one, we don't know. I have Fuanga going to them. They went out and got Ridley. They have D Hop. They went and got Tony Pollard. They traded for
Snead.
L'Jarius Sneed. They still have Jeffrey Simmons on the edge. Like, they have a decent team. They have decent names. I don't know how good they'll be with Will Levis, but you have to start rebuilding that offensive line. They take a tackle. This pick
They
here,
lost Taylor Lewan.
yeah, they lost Taylor Lewan. At 8 to the Falcons is where I start to struggle a little bit, and I'm like on a power trip a little bit, where I either think this is where Terrion Arnold goes or Dallas Turner. I think that the Falcons have been dead last in sacks over the last 3 seasons in the NFL. And I think that it's absolutely imperative for them to lean edge. And I think that they go and take Dallas Turner at this spot, but it could lean either way. Next pick. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, we got to keep in mind this was all done before any other moves. So this was
Yes.
a week. This was 9 days ago. I've been seeing more and more stuff about how the Falcons are one of those teams that is interested in Hassan Reddick. So I mean,
Yes.
does it hurt to go out there and have Hassan Reddick and Dallas Turner on your team?
No.
No, probably not. But if they do land Hassan Reddick, I can see them pivoting into a different direction here.
Yes. Next, 9, Malik Neighbors. People think that he's the real wide receiver 1. I think the only reason people are saying that is because Marvin Harrison Jr. has been crickets, because he is the best wide receiver in this class. He doesn't have to prove it. He's gone and done his thing. Everybody knows it. Malik Neighbors is a flashy name. I'm skeptical about what he'll be in the NFL at this point, just because of how high everybody is on him. But LSU receivers majority of the time don't fail, so maybe he's the next great. Jets, I have them taking another weapon here. I mean, they added Mike Williams, which I like that move. I don't hate it. They needed to do it. They added older tackles on their offensive line, so I don't think they lean tackle. They're all in. They either are going to win a Super Bowl this year, make a deep run in the playoffs, or everybody's getting fucking fired. So I think that they go and add like the best player on the board at this point, and that's Brock Bowers. Next on the list is the trade back candidate for the Chargers. They go and get a wide receiver for Justin Herbert, and they grab Rome Odunze at 11. I don't hate that move at all. I think that'd be amazing, and there's still tackles available at the back half of the draft for them. 12 is the first trade up candidate. I know for a fact the Cardinals are shopping up. I don't know who they're looking for. What I do know what they need is they need a corner. So they go and take Quinion Mitchell at 12 and move and have Denver move back. Raiders offensive line, your guy Newton. Saints, same thing. I just said that. I would have them
I do got something for this though. Is this Newton move even in sync with them getting Christian Wilkins? You like that move still?
Yeah, I do. I think that they're trying to beef up the defense. Like, I think defense is what
nasty.
I think that defense is what matters to them at the end of the day. Like, this dude is a true interior. Christian Wilkins plays more of like an edge type player, not like a rush edge like Max Crosby, but he's an end at the end of the day. So you get like a true like run stuffer like in the middle with Newton, and like kind of like fill out that defensive line completely.
I think that'd be a tough D line.
Same thing with the Saints. They go and take a tackle. I don't know what the Colts do. I don't think they take receiver though. So I have this being the Cooper DeJean team.
Hate it.
The next Seahawks are kind of in that same situation where you kind of don't know what they have to do. I have this being the Jared Verse team. I like Jared Verse a lot. I could actually see him going above Dallas Turner, but I think that it just depends on what the team is like, what they really like. Next, Arnold to the Jaguars. Jaguars need to beef up the secondary, no question. Troy Fatuanu, I can't say his last name. I don't know if he goes to the Bengals. I know they just signed another tackle. I don't know what they're trying to do. Joe Burrow has had an injury history at this point, so you think that they would probably want to protect him. Next, LA Rams, Liatu. I don't know. I don't love that pick. I just took it because why not?
Who did they?
Next,
I feel like they just got somebody on their defensive line too, or they just who did they just get? Oh no, they got a Tre'Davious White for their secondary.
Yeah, which is cool. So I don't see them taking corner anymore. Amarius Mims, probably my favorite tackle in this draft. He's massive. He just hasn't played a lot. He's a very raw prospect, but I think that ultimately he's pretty good. I have him going to the Steelers. Jackson Powers Johnson to the Miami Dolphins. He's going to be an unreal center in the NFL. I'm calling that now. Unfortunately for the Eagles, I have Nate Wiggins going to them. He's probably my least favorite prospect in the first round. But at the end of the day, the Eagles need secondary help, and I can see this being a case for them. I think at 23, the Chargers take JC Latham, who I had them going with at 5. They get their tackle, they get their wide receiver. I think they have a really prolific draft. Peyton Willis, obviously the news with what's his name, Van Der Esch hurting his neck. They look to kind of still continue to beef up that defense, get the linebacker out of North Carolina State. Tyler Nubbin, Green Bay, still adding to that secondary to kind of fill it out. Buccaneers going with Chop Robinson. Like I said, I don't know what the Bucs do, so that's up in the air. Then I think that we see finally at 27 the quarterback that everybody has going off the board. This is really where I see him going from picks 27 to 32 of where JJ McCarthy could potentially go. I have the Cardinals being a trade up candidate with the Broncos, moving them to 27 where the Cardinals were originally picking. They get JJ McCarthy. The Bills, same situation. I don't know what they do, but I know for a fact that I won't have Adonai Mitchell in my next mock. TJ Tampa, I'm waiting for him to do his pro day. I think that if he runs a certain time, I think he will be a first round player. Ravens, Tyler Galton, tackle out of Oklahoma. San Fran, Kool-Aid McKinstry out of Alabama. Their secondary was questionable at times last season, and I think they look to add through the draft. And then at 32, I have the Chiefs going Brian Robinson Jr., wide receiver out of LSU.
Brian Thomas Jr.
Brian Thomas, sorry. So this is mock 1.0. I mean, is there any glaring issues that you have with it, like outside of the few that I've listed, that you don't like, that you would change?
I mean, I'd like to point out that I think the winner of this draft, like outside of the Bears, is probably the Chargers. I think if the Chargers, based off of if they do end up with Odunze and JC Latham, that's probably the second best situation you could have. And then, I mean, tied probably with the Cardinals getting Marvin Harrison and Quinyon Mitchell. I think those are probably the next two winners of the draft. I think if that's how it plays out for these two teams, I think they're going to be very happy with their first round. Looking through some of these other picks, I mean, I've never been a fan of Cooper DeJean, like we said, but I guess somebody will like him enough in the first round to take him. Have you ever seen Theo Ash?
Yes.
Yeah, he is just like me with his Cooper DeJean thought process. I'm just not sold on him. I'm not sold on him covering man to man. He's a good zone defender, but at the end of the day, I still want my guy at corner to be able to go and lock down if I'm drafting him in the first round at the 15th pick, I want him to be able to go and lock down the side of a field. another thing that I was questioning is this Peyton. I think it makes sense for the Cowboys to take a linebacker. I'm just not sure if it's going to be Peyton Wilson in this pick. I think I could end up seeing them taking a tackle here at some point, maybe moving around. But I think after them not having, who's the guy that just left to sign with the Jets?
Tyron
Smith.
Smith.
Yeah, I could see them going offensive line here.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's so many good tackles, and I'm not sure if taking Peyton Wilson's a middle linebacker, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I normally, I mean, I would wait for a second round to take a middle linebacker, but I think Peyton Wilson is going to be a good linebacker in the NFL. So like, it's not my favorite, but I don't think it's the worst. I mean, I don't really think this is that bad. I think the Steelers are probably going to go O-line. I like that. It just really depends on like, I think you nailed the positions for majority of these teams. It's just a matter of like who's there and who's not. Like that's I think really what it comes down to.
Yeah, and I think the thing with the Cowboys is, and the reason why I have this guy going to them is, listen, as much as like everybody wants to clown the Cowboys for like not being active in free agency, like not doing this, not doing that, they've won the most games in the last 3 years. Besides the Chiefs, they haven't had the postseason success, which is completely fine. And people like Bill Simmons today was like, I was listening to him and Raheem, and Bill's like, they brought back McCarthy for whatever reason. Like McCarthy has like a ridiculous record since he started with the Cowboys. So you don't just fire a coach for no reason. I know this sounds like really crazy. I trust the Cowboys like from a roster building perspective, because you went out, you drafted Dak in the 4th, you nailed the CD Lamb pick, you drafted Micah Parsons at 12, you got Steph why can't I think of his name? Diggs. You got why can't I think of his first name?
I'm drawing a blank too.
That's insane. Whatever his name is, you get Diggs' brother in the 2nd round. Like you have proven yourself. I think the Cowboys, like, they get shit on a lot because they don't win the big games, but the Cowboys have done
Trayvon Diggs.
The Cowboys have done like an absolutely unbelievable job, like from a roster building perspective and drafting really good guys. So I don't like. I mean, you watch Tony Pollard go off and get like a big contract. Like they do a really good job in the draft. So I'm not going to sit here and kind of like shit on the Cowboys. I think that they're going to be a still really good regular season team and probably let down in the playoffs like they always do. But winning 10 plus games every single season is still extremely impressive.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I hate the Cowboys, I have to admit that they draft very well. I just think that drafting a middle linebacker, I think you'll be able to find a middle. I think you'll be able to find Peyton Wilson in the 2nd round. Is all that all that I had to say.
The reason why I think that they don't go O-line here is because they had guys kind of, because Tyron Smith like hasn't really been overly healthy, and they had Tyler Smith, who has been playing guard for them, who I think automatically moves to tackle, and they've had younger guys who have kind of stepped up and played like a decent role on their offensive line. I think that they have their offensive line filled out kind of, and that's why they were fine with letting Tyron Smith walk. Is the way I looked at it, at least. Like, it was like, you have to be okay with letting that guy walk, who is very impactful for you if you have a plan. And I think that they do have a plan, and it's in place already. So I think that they go and beef up that defense and try to fill it out a little bit more, because they did lose some pieces on their defense. And I think that getting guys on their defensive side of the ball is going to be a lot more important than getting guys on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, they get Diggs back, like we said, and DaRon Bland was a really good corner last year. So I keep forgetting that they get Diggs back. Otherwise, I would have also said corner for them here.
Yeah.
But I think the best move that the Cowboys probably made this offseason was not signing Tony Pollard.
Very good.
Um,
Slept on.
so that was probably like realistically probably the best move that they've made. I'm sure they'll end up getting a running back in a later round, like we've mentioned. So
Or like literally like Zeke and Dalvin Cook have been like linked to them. So like it might make sense for them to bring back one of those guys. Like I'm not saying I'm very impressed with them, but at the end of the day, if you can have those guys playing supplemental roles for you, I don't look at it as the end of the world. We talked about it in our first free agency. The guys who overspend in free agency are usually the people on really bad teams. So like that is like not
but
just
you
because
have to do that. I think you have to do that if you're a bad team. You have to
yeah,
overpay to get players middle like you have to pay more to get these types of guys to come play for you. Like the Titans. The Titans overpaid on Tony Pollard and on Calvin Ridley like and they gave up. I mean, good for the Chiefs and good for them for getting I mean, L'Jarius needs a younger corner, so like that makes more sense to me, but and he's been nasty. So I get that, but overpaying on Calvin Ridley and Tony Pollard, that part of it is something that you have to do if you're the Titans.
no, I'm right with you.
So, I mean, I think I like the move. I like that they're actually trying to put some coherent pieces around Will Levis. And I think that overspending is just part of that.
Yeah. It's a good
So,
point. Yeah, so that's mock one. I mean, we'll obviously put some more out. No, we'll make one this week.
yep.
Yeah, so you said you wanted to talk about trades then next?
Yeah. So I have the list of trades so far. This is as of March 25th. So there obviously last week we didn't talk about anything, but the one of the bigger moves was the Steelers trading for Justin Fields. Steelers get him. Bears get a 2025 conditional 6th round pick, and I just kind of wanted to talk through that, see what you thought.
I think it makes sense for them to do it. I just think that like, listen, I don't think that what the Steelers did was a bad move. Like they clearly hated Kenny Pickett. I don't think that that's a secret anymore. Like it's pretty much came out that like Kenny Pickett's a crybaby. And they had to get him out of the building. And then on top of it, you get to have Russ. If he works out or not, it doesn't matter. He's on a $1 million contract. And then you have Justin Fields, who's 24 years old in your building for 2 years. I don't hate that move by them. Like I think right now, as much as I hate Russ, like I think that they're in a better position now at the quarterback from a quarterback option as they were last year. Like last year, it was Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, and Mason Rudolph, and now you have Russ and Justin Fields. Like I think it's like undoubtedly that they're in a way better position. I don't think that a lot of people like it because the Steelers fans acted like they were getting Russ when he was 23 years old, but like I think that if you're realistic about where Russ is in his career and probably realizing that he's not going to be I don't think he starts past week 6. Like, I think that if you take that in as a Steelers fan and be like, okay, we have Justin Fields. Let's see how he plays out for us. I think that's the way that you have to look at it. I just got annoyed that the Steelers fans were like, oh, we got Russell Wilson. We're going to win 14 games. It's like, what are you talking about? Russ has legitimately been the laughing stock of the NFL for the last 2 seasons. And everybody's been like, bad. He's so bad. He's so bad. And then the Steelers fans get him and they're like, well, we got Russ. We got Russ. It's like, no, you guys got the same Russ that you guys were all shitting on for the last 2 seasons.
Yes. Somebody posted a video on X of like an old highlight of Russ on the Seahawks and was like, y'all seriously let this man go to the Steelers for like 1 point whatever mil. And it's him just like running around in the pocket scrambling, but they're playing like the Patriots with Vince Wilfork.
Yeah, like forever, like 10 years ago. Like
but no, I undoubtedly the Steelers quarterback room is better than it was last year. And if I'm a Steelers fan, I think it solidifies like last year, Steelers fans going into their season were probably like, okay, we'll win like 7 games for sure.
Yeah.
Like as the bare minimum. I think you can set that bare minimum for the Steelers at like 10 games right now. I think 10 game, maybe not bare minimum. I think that that's the average. I think the Steelers will probably win 10 or 11 games this season, which is already over for the year.
Yeah.
That came out. It started at like 7.5. It's at 8.5 already. But undoubtedly, having Justin Fields in your quarterback room is so much better than Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph back there.
And Trubisky.
Trubisky. I mean, I have this article pulled up, and the NFL has like the dude that wrote this article is Kevin Patra. He graded this an A+ for the Steelers and a D+ for the Bears. I mean, I think having that as a A+ for the Steelers is good for right now, but I think the Steelers encounter a tough situation at some point where they have to make the decision of, hey, do we want to pay Justin Fields or not? And I think that that's not an easy situation to be in, especially if he only goes out there and plays like 10 games. Like say, like you said, you think Russ only plays until week 7, then you have to base this big of a decision on a quarterback that played 10 games.
You have Justin Fields on this year, and you can pick up his 5th-year option. So you have him for 2 years. You don't have to pay him.
I know, but normally that decision gets made after year 4, if I'm not mistaken. Like, wasn't Daniel Jones like the first time in a while where we've had one of these top quarterbacks not have an extension after year 4? I could completely be making that up, but I just remember it was a huge deal when.
Listen, I think that like I've said this like a few times where teams need to get back to the point of like not being scared to franchise tag their quarterback. I mean, you saw Lamar play out a 5th year, and then you saw Lamar get franchise tagged, and then you saw him figure out a deal. Like, I think that like it's going to be a situation where Justin Fields has 0 leverage. Like,
yeah,
unless if Justin Fields goes in and wins a playoff game and like balls and like all this stuff, like, because that's what happened with Daniel Jones.
Yeah,
Daniel Jones went balled, won a playoff game, like all of that stuff. Like, so that's like that, but that's the Giants' fault. That's
that was
not everybody else
of Daniel Jones.
Yeah, that's not everybody else's fault.
But yeah, I mean, do I think the Bears deserve a D+ in this situation? That might be a little harsh, because at the end of the day, like, I think they did right by sending him to Pittsburgh. That's where I saw he wanted to go. And the Bears still have the 1st overall pick to get potentially the greatest quarterback ever. So
listen, why is everybody so like hard pressed on like the return of what they were getting for Justin Fields? Like, they had to get rid of him. And it sounded like Poles is the first GM in the NFL that actually cared about the outcome of like what he got. I don't think that there was like a second on the table for Justin Fields and he turned it down because it wasn't where he wanted to go. But I think that it could have potentially been like another pick. And I think that like they were in a
4, maybe a 4.
I think they're in a position right now where it's like, dude, we struck gold on getting this 1st overall. We have 2 picks in the top 10. Like,
correct.
We need to like, Foles is like, we need to do right by Justin. Like, let's get him into a situation where like he could potentially play. Like, and that's what he went and did. I don't see anything wrong with it, honestly.
I don't either. All right. Next one was, I don't think we talked about this one. Maybe we did, but the Sam Howell trade from Washington to Seattle. Seattle gets Sam Howell, a 2024 fourth rounder, 2024 sixth rounder, and the Commanders get 2024 third rounder and fifth rounder. At the end of the day, I don't think that like this is some insane big brain deal. I think this was just the Commanders' way of pretty much saying, "Hey, we're taking a quarterback. We're solidifying a quarterback. We don't want a quarterback competition. We're going to bring in a guy in Marcus Mariota that's going to be a legitimate backup, and we're taking we're getting a quarterback at number 2."
Yeah, and also it's like, hey, Sam, we're going to be drafting your best friend from college, and
Correct.
he's taking your job, and we don't want you to be around here, and we think that you can go. Now you have an opportunity to like actually play in Seattle if things don't work out with Geno. So
Yeah,
I think that
Geno's deal ends after this year, I think, right?
Yeah, and I think that
2-year deal.
I think that Geno's also in a spot where this is very much an open quarterback competition for them. Like, you have to kind of look at it that way. They had an awful end to the year last year, so I don't hate that move for either team, but I mean, it is what it is.
I don't either. I think you putting Sam Howell in Seattle isn't necessarily the end of the world for either one of those teams. I don't know if we talked about Mac Jones to the Jags. Jags got Mac Jones. Patriots got a 2024 sixth rounder. Honestly, I'm surprised they even got that. I wouldn't have even given away a dishwasher for Mac Jones. I mean, I don't really have too much to say about this one. He goes home he's from Florida. He's going to be a backup unless Trevor Lawrence somehow forgets how to throw a football.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about that move personally.
Okay. I think we talked about Kenny Pickett actually already. All right. Rondale Moore to the Falcons for Desmond Ridder for the Cardinals. What do you think about this one as a Cardinals fan?
Listen, at the end of the day, the Cardinals actually needed a backup quarterback because Clayton Tune can't tell his fucking between his ass and a hole in the ground. And I think that it was like a very legitimate like priority for them to get a quarterback who has played in games, who like he's won in the NFL. He's not great, but like he's better than Clayton Tune. And on top of that, like, bro, I loved the idea of Rondale Moore, but when it came down to it, he's never healthy. So it is what it is. The Falcons go and get another weapon: Darnell Mooney, Drake London, Rondale Moore, Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, Kyle Pitts. Like, they get a bunch of weapons. Like, I low-key love their offense, and the Cardinals get a position of need for them. So I think it makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, I do too. I honestly, until you mentioned Clayton Tune, I couldn't even tell you who the backup was for the Cardinals. I was going to say Colt McCoy. But yeah, Rondale Moore, like the Cardinals just love receivers that are just like, after they got rid of D-Hop, they've just loved receivers that are just like small and fast. So I think that this should solidify them taking, if it wasn't clear enough that they were going to take Marvin Harrison Jr., I think that this probably does it, especially since they don't have Hollywood Brown anymore.
Can we talk about that move real quick?
Yeah.
So on social media, after they got Hollywood Brown, it was another dynamic weapon added to the Chiefs offense. There is an absolute reason why the Ravens were fine letting go of Hollywood Brown, and then the Cardinals had Hollywood Brown in the building and is Kyler's literal best friend, and we're completely fine with him walking out of the building. Hollywood Brown is just not an impact player at all.
He's a wide receiver 3 at best.
He's small. He can't stay healthy. He is fast. Like, he wasn't healthy his entire time in Arizona. So I know that the Chiefs fans that get like extremely excited and people gas this move up. Like I literally saw people on social media being like, I can't believe that they let the Chiefs get Hollywood Brown. I'm like, did anybody watch Hollywood Brown the last 2 seasons? Like he's been a non-factor. So
He has a drops problem too that people like don't really talk about, but I guess it's hard to talk about him if he's never playing. But I remember at least when he was on the Ravens, there was issues with catching the football. And that fits in perfectly for a Chiefs receiver because they also have issues catching the
yeah,
football outside of
yeah.
Rashee Rice. So, but I mean, with our luck, he's going to go to the Chiefs and have all the receiving yards, and he's going to drop 2 passes the entire year, and I'm going to freak out.
No, I disagree.
Well, I'm saying with our luck, I realistically don't think it's going to happen, but if there was ever a scenario where he figures it out, if you can't figure it out with Patrick Mahomes, that's probably your last stop in the NFL. That's like
Okay.
when what?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it was like with Antonio Brown and Tom Brady. Like if you can't get your shit together with them, then there's no saving you.
Bro, Antonio Brown's 2 games on the Patriots were the best 2 games I've ever seen in my life. That
They were nuts.
when he was wearing number 17 and he balled in Miami and caught 2 touchdowns, I was like, this is going to be the greatest wide receiver like ever.
Since Randy Moss there.
Yeah, what else you got?
Keenan Allen to the Bears for a 4th rounder to the Chargers.
Amazing.
This surprised me. This move surprised me a lot. I know that we kind of talked about like the Chargers maybe doing something with Keenan Allen because he was kind of old, but for some reason it never like the Bears never crossed my mind. I just assumed that the Bears were going to maybe sign somebody and then take another receiver in the draft, but Keenan Allen never really felt like a guy that, at least in my head, that was going to get traded to Chicago. But I love it for them.
Keenan Allen was extremely forward. He said that the Chargers came to him, asked to take a pay cut, and he said, I just came off of my best season ever. Why would I do that? They said, okay, we're going to trade you. He got traded to the Bears for a 4th-round pick. The Bears get an extremely expensive old receiver that I think could pay off big for them for 1 year. Because if he can stay healthy and play at a high level, like, and mentor DJ Moore and the other receiver that they're going to take in this draft, I think and having a reliable target for Caleb Williams. Like, I just think it's a win-win for everybody. The Chargers need to get off the money. They got to pick, and the Bears get a competent veteran wide receiver who's like one of the best ever.
Yeah, I think it's a great fit. Like you said, the ability for Caleb Williams to kind of have that guy. I think DJ Moore is great. Don't get me wrong, but it always kind of just felt like Keenan Allen was maybe that's because everybody else was hurt on the Chargers, but it just felt like he was the safety valve for Justin Herbert throughout his time there. And I still think he has some juice left in the tank. Obviously, he just came off his best season, like you said. I think that's going to be a very big help for Caleb Williams when he gets in the building. And I think it's already important to mention that, like I said earlier, like I think it's cool that he went to Pro Day and got to see all of that. And
that's like what woke me up. I was like, I watched him at the Pro Day, like decked out in Bears gear, and I was like, that's insane that they went and scooped him up for Caleb Williams. Like, what a reliable target, and he's like a pro's pro.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think if they add another guy, that receiving core is just going to be nasty. All right. Let me see what else here. We didn't really talk about this one. The Jerry Jeudy trade to the Browns for a 2024 5th rounder and a 2024 6th rounder. So Broncos got the 5th and 6th rounder, Browns got Jerry Jeudy. This was,
Whoa,
I
wait.
think it makes.
Say the extension that he got too.
I was going to. I wanted
Okay,
to.
sorry.
I need to pull it up, but like it makes sense for the Browns to get another receiver, but do I think it made sense for them to get Jerry Jeudy and then extend him like this? Absolutely not. I think they spent way too much money on Jerry Jeudy. Um, I don't think I mean, he is probably fits in that 2 to 3 range, which that's what he'll be here. But that's an expensive ass number 2 receiver.
Um,
Hold on here. The extension
Go
is
ahead.
3 years, 58 million.
Okay, so that's 17.5 per.
Per.
He went out and got paid a bigger contract than Gabe Davis. And listen, I'm not
I
the
mean, I respect
biggest
it. Good for
I'm
you,
not the
Jerry
biggest
Jeudy.
Gabe Davis fan, but like Gabe Davis has proven himself far more to be a more
He's
valuable wide
better,
receiver
definitely
than
better than Jerry Jeudy.
Jerry Jeudy has. And bro, honestly, I hate this move. Like I don't know what they saw in him, like other than like giving him a chance, but like why go and pay him then? Like
That's a
I don't
hefty
know.
chance, man. 17 mil for a guy that missed time. He was hurt last year and just wasn't that great. But the situation wasn't that great either. But I don't know, man. I like them getting a receiver because I think they needed somebody outside of Amari Cooper. But I don't think that this was their best option.
I don't think so either. Hey, listen, we'll watch it play out. Like maybe he'll
We
ball, but I
he
think Jerry
Yeah.
Jeudy sucks. I think Jerry Jeudy like is legitimately bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's as bad as you do, but
I've never
I
seen
think
him have a good game. Have you ever seen Jerry Jeudy have a good game? Like all jokes aside.
I just remember having him in fantasy, and there was a handful of times when he played pretty well that I had him in my starting lineup, so that's what I'm basing it off of.
Well, if you
Um,
had Jerry Jeudy in your starting lineup, you didn't
I
sniff
had
the
no choice.
playoffs. You didn't sniff
I
the
did. I
playoffs.
did. I had him last, not this most recent year, but the year before.
Okay. Sorry. Keep going.
But I made it I made it a point to try and avoid anybody on the Broncos after that. So yeah, I don't know. I like them getting a receiver, like I said, but I'm not that big of a fan of that move. All right, next we've got the Panthers getting Deontay Johnson and a 2024 7th rounder, and the Steelers getting Dante Jackson and a 2024 6th rounder. This
I
move
don't.
was a I think this was a good move for Carolina. I think that they needed to add another weapon and give Bryce Young somebody else to throw the football to. And I
No
think
doubt.
that Deontay Johnson was like I don't even know who Dante Jackson is. And
He's old.
him and a
He's
six.
really old.
So giving him up and getting a better and giving up a 6th rounder and you're only losing out on 1 round and you get the best player in the trade, like I think that that's probably a good move for them.
Yeah, I think so too. I know Steelers fans were like, "Thank God we got Deontay Johnson out of here." I guess they didn't like his attitude or whatever. I mean, it is what it is. I just think that he's going to be in a situation where he gets fed. So I mean, good for him.
Yeah, and if you're the Panthers, you can't go into another season with Adam Thielen being your wide receiver 1. So they had to make a move here. And I I don't I think Deontay Johnson is a decent wide receiver. And I think it might be best for him to get a fresh start there in Carolina. And like you said, realistically he should get 10 targets a game if they're throwing
Yeah,
it that
no
much.
doubt. No doubt.
All right, we got the Bengals trading Joe Mixon to the Texans for a 2024 7th rounder.
I think that it was just like I said, a situation they can't pay him the money that he wants. Get a 7th round pick. 7th, it is what it is. And like the Texans get a very veteran, savvy running back who's played in a ton of big games, who can be productive. I mean, I think it's a
running
big win.
running end in the receiving
And
game too.
yeah, I think it's a big upgrade for them at the running back position. They didn't have to pay the big money for Saquon. They get a player who can supplement what he does. I like the move for the Texans.
That's what I was gonna say. It came out today on that New Heights podcast. Saquon Barkley was on it, and I heard him talking about how his first interest was initially the Texans, and it just came down to, I think, the Eagles just giving him more money. But I don't. I mean, I absolutely love this move as a plan B for the Texans. I think they get a really good. I think they get a really good running back that can play downs 1 through 3, and as long as he doesn't beat his wife again, I think we'll be good.
He never beat his wife.
Who did he beat up? A random girl?
He knocked a girl out at college.
Okay, sorry.
Listen,
same difference.
That video is brutal. I'm not like that video is bad. Like, but like Jesus.
Yeah. All right. Next, we've got L'Jarius Sneed to the Titans, as we previously mentioned, and a 7th rounder from the Chiefs for a 2024 7th rounder and a 2025 3rd rounder. This was a surprise to me when I saw this pop up on my phone. I did not think the Titans would be the team to make this trade. I don't know. I just feel like whenever a team like gets a new coach, like I feel like they're always just scared. I don't know. I have nothing to base that assumption off of, but
so as soon as the L'Jarius Sneed trade rumors kind of came up, the Titans were the team that's been linked to them like the entire time. It linked to him the entire time. They have the money to pay him. I wasn't overly shocked by it. It was just a matter of time of like when it happened. In my head, at least. The Chiefs just can't afford to pay him.
I knew that. I knew he was going to get traded, but I didn't know that it. I don't know why. I guess I just missed it that the Titans were ever linked to him per se. But did they come to terms on an extension or anything that I missed?
4 years, $74 million.
I love it.
I mean,
he's a top 5 corner.
They got paid, like he got paid, and they can pay him. I mean, it's really that simple. I think that they came out. I think it's crazy that they're going all in, but I mean, they did what they did. They have a lot of good players, so
yeah, I would say it's a situation like I mentioned earlier where you have to figure out what you have in Will Levis. We saw some good flashes from him last year, but I mean, it just didn't. There wasn't enough, I don't think. So we'll see what happens this year. But I said at the beginning of this, I really like the moves that the Texans have made, and I think you got to figure out what you have at quarterback.
I agree.
Let me see here. All right. Well, that was the last big name one that I wanted to talk about. I think we talked about Brian Burns going to the Giants already on the last one. So that covers all of those trades I think that were in between that we really didn't talk too much about.
Yeah. I mean, no, we talked about Brian Burns.
Yeah. So I think next week I'll do my mock draft for this upcoming week. Well, for next week, and we can dive into that. I think everybody's had their pro day. I think LSU had their pro day today, actually.
Yeah, I think that there's a few more, but it's getting to that time where it's going to be wrapped up.
I saw that Malik Neighbors had a 42-inch vert.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Good for him. So, all right, well, that's all I got for you.
All right. Well, listen, I don't care. Listen, everybody that sits around and acts like they're too cool for this, or like blah blah blah. Go fuck yourself. Drake and Future and all of old Drake's old homies are all beefing, and you can act too cool to act like you haven't seen any of it, but you've been on every single fucking social media page, following it, listening to the verses, listening to the albums, and waiting for Drake to respond. I don't give a fuck who you are. That's what you're doing.
Are you yelling at me?
No, I'm just saying in general.
No,
but like,
I mean,
like some people are like, oh, like I didn't like really like, oh, like it was like whatever. Like it's like, all right, dude. Like first off, like, do you like music or do you not like music? If you like music and rap music, this is massive for the content in the rap community and the music community in whole.
yeah.
Like you got an apps. I think that this is one of the best albums that I've heard in a long time. For like Future and Metro linked up and gave me exactly what I was looking for on an album. What shocked me, which I predicted that. Like I heard a lot of snippets. Me and you were texting about it for a long time, and we were like, there's like a zero bust potential on this album. Like there's gonna be classics on it. Like
So many bangers.
Cinderella is a classic, is like a legitimately instant classic song. And I guess what shocked me that came out of this entire situation was the fact that like it seems like Travis, Future, Metro, Rick Ross, like The Weeknd popped on the album, like notorious people who have beefed with Drake in the past, as I mean that as in Metro and The Weeknd, and kind of like new people emerge out of kind of nowhere. It felt like that have a problem with Drake, and I found that to be extremely surprising.
Yeah, for starters, I love this. I think it's great for like I don't know, enjoyer of rap music. Like I'm obviously, everybody knows I'm a huge Drake fan, but like I think it's entertaining when shit like this happens because it doesn't really feel like it happens anymore, especially like with the biggest of big names in terms of like Future and Drake. I would like to know, like, I've seen rumors going around that this is all about like some girl from like a strip club or something. And I mean, it would be nice to actually know what the real reasoning is. But I mean, I think what I'm hoping comes from this is just bars. It's just more bars. Is these guys just locking in again, Drake going back into the studio, cooking up some stuff, these guys responding, and then them hashing it out and it being all good.
Can I say something?
Because I would love to see Future and Drake make music together moving forward. I'd love to see Travis and Drake. I'd love to see Rick Ross and Drake. Like I like when Drake is with all of those guys, and I like when he does Metro Boomin beats. Like he snaps on those. I think for now it's fun.
Can I say something real quick? I think the good side of the situation that comes out of this is even though I don't like Kendrick, I don't like his music. Like I've never really listened to him. He did call out Drake. I think that it was like a good call out, and like from the rapping like bars perspective of it is like, yes, that's the good side of it. What is the crazy side of this situation? And whatever, like I don't give a fuck. Like this is I'm interested in this ship, so everybody else can suck a dick. Like
I know we'll get the why do you guys care? These are grown men.
I don't care. I'm a grown
why
man,
do we care about
what?
Why do I care about anything? Why do I care about the NFL? Why do I care about the
Yankees? I care.
Like,
listen, I care about I don't have any shame. I don't care. Like I think it's insane that like over the years Drake is like notorious like for like not being able to keep his dick in his pants. And it's literally getting to the point now where like he had like his homies like all link up on an album and pretty much be like, bro, you're drawing. And then like everybody like everybody on the outside was like, they're weak for like doing that. Like Drake, like blah blah blah. It's just like what Drake, bro. Drake has no bad PR. It feels like it is insane at this point where it's like he has like six of his like homies who he has made bangers and classics with all link up on the same album and pretty much be like, bro, you're drawing, and then the entire public to just be like, oh, like what's their problem, like blah blah blah, like this that and the third. It's like, well, they clearly stated the issue, like Drake can't keep his dick in his pants, and then Drake goes the next day and invites like Rick Ross's baby mom to his concert. It's just like, listen,
That's
like
a
Drake,
low-key big dog move.
listen, whatever. Like, listen, nobody's sitting around being like Drake can't get bitches, like blah blah blah. Like, dude, good for you. But like at a point, like inviting everybody's baby mom to the show and shit like that, like
I didn't even know he did that.
I think that's I personally kind of think that's a little whack. Like,
I think it's cool from the fact of like, let's lean into this beef and let's just like keep it going. I think it's cool from that perspective. But like on a real serious note, if that was like me and there was a girl that you had a child with and I was inviting her to come hang out with me constantly, that'd be fucked up. But like it feels like from the perspective of let's just like lean into this and just like see what happens. That's like why I think that is funny.
Also, real quick, the More M's beat where like everybody was like saying that like Drake is that was a future diss on More M's. That album was in 2022. In 2022, Future dropped an album too with 2 songs with it on Drake. And the song that everybody's saying that was a Future diss was a Metro beat. If you think Metro is going to allow Drake to diss Future on one of his beats, you are out of your mind. Like they are like legitimately like locked in. So I think that was a complete reach. I think that this whole situation though is extremely new because it really does seem like it came out of like absolutely nowhere.
It's definitely new. But like there's a part of me that is also like that I've thought through this. Maybe that's why like 21 Savage and Drake have always been cool, but like maybe that's why he's like leaning into more of the 21 Savage stuff, and like same with like Yachty, because like he was never this front, like he never openly talked about Yachty, never like openly hung out with Yachty like this much up until like Certified Lover Boy dropped. So like maybe that's why. And like 21 Savage and him have been like tight since I don't even know when, probably before that, but that could be why we've seen him like
2016
tend to lean more towards 21 and Yachty. I don't know. I'm just
bro.
guessing.
The thing that pisses me off about Drake at this point is like, bro, you gotta ditch that little Yachty shit, bro. Like I know that you like Yachty and shit, and like he gets fresh, like blah blah blah, like this that and the third. Like, yeah, that isn't it. Like I promise you. Like you did you just hear the album that Metro and Future put out? Like Drake, like lock in. Like you're not.
I mean, I would love to see Drake back on the Metro beats.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at right now. Is like I
No
think
Complaints with Offset was tough.
So tough. I just think that like the music that got made out of this is insane. And the fact that Drake isn't on any of this and has music with all of these artists.
Yeah.
I personally think that it says a lot about who Drake is right now and like in his career and who he is as a guy. Like I think that, and listen, this is a big speculation, but you just listen. Like I think that this is a class. Like I think that this is going to be like a classic trap album. It's amazing, and the fact that Drake is not on this in any way, shape, or form is like actually sad.
Yeah, I mean, so. I would have loved to hear Drake on one of these songs. That would have been sick,
bro. Even one.
It would have been sick. But I know Drake's always been a guy that has like tried to help out like up and coming rappers. Like he just did that. Like he did that Tuesday verse for Makonnen. He just did he did Block Boy JB Look Alive, and then he recently did that verse for Four Bats. And then
Yeah, and
now
then
I
he
just saw that
posted.
he's coming out with a feature with like two bulls that I've literally never even heard of.
We don't want that. We
I
don't
like the
want.
Four Bats one. Don't
Listen,
get me wrong, but that's like
say what you want. Like, ever good for Drake for like being like tapped in, whatever. I literally do not want that out of him. I hate that he thinks that like that is. Stop leaning into. I don't like that he leans into that as much as he does. I don't fuck with that. I don't think that that's like a lot of the time I think that those songs are misses. Like Look Alive was like a big song at the time, but like you look back at that song's fucking corny. Like
Block Boy
flat
JB is
plain
literally nowhere to be found.
nowhere to be found. McConan's nowhere to be found. Like none of these guys are nowhere to be found. Like Drake gives out the stimulus package to people who like don't deserve it. Like you go and like lock in with the guys who like that you can make legitimately like diamond platinum records with that will go like ultra mega like viral, like not like these like little boys who like fanboy over you because dude, I'm not rocking with Drake right now, plain and simple. I think him being left off of this album, how he was dissed and on this album by multiple people, even bringing in The Weeknd on this shit, like it just says a lot about like I guess how these guys view Drake currently right now.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
nobody's
I don't have.
saying that Drake's like not successful and like has made great, like no one's saying that shit. Like we all know this shit already. Like Drake, I'm just saying right now, like Drake has been underwhelming, and then all of Drake's homies link up on an album and pretty much say "fuck you."
I think you could like. I think he can do both, where he gives out that stimulus package to those guys, but then also like works on an album with like rappers that everybody loves. Like one verse, like you really had to give that. I don't even know this guy's name that he's coming out with a verse for on Friday, but like you're telling me that that verse couldn't have been spent working on that time for that verse couldn't have been spent working on a verse for this Metro album with Future. Like that shit would have been hard.
Well, it should have been, but he was fucking sticking his dick inside of everybody.
But regardless of that, I think the album is phenomenal. I've really enjoyed it so far. I've pretty much played it nonstop, like every day since it came out. I think my favorite song. I mean, Cinderella was a song that you and I have been waiting for
A year.
generations.
Yeah,
generations.
yeah.
So I'm hyped that finally came out. But Claustrophobic is probably my favorite song off of there.
That shit goes so hard, bro.
So hard.
Yeah, and obviously I wanted to talk about the music, but I mean the beef shit's important too, bro. The music, I think, like the intro track, I think it's perfect. I think Metro took a ton of time to like make this like a full collective album. It felt like, at least like the transitions in between songs, it felt amazing. The features on this album hit like really hard.
Yeah.
I think The Weeknd, I know that everybody wanted like a big grandiose Weeknd situation. I think
Certainly
what
wouldn't
he
have been
did,
mad at that.
no, I wouldn't have been mad at that, but I love what they chose to do. I thought it fit perfect.
The eerie Weekend vocals in the background honestly never miss.
Never miss. And bro, me and you talked about it too. Playboy Cardi is on a crazy run right now. As much
He
as
is.
listen, he's on a run.
He is. He just put out a song today with Camila Cabella.
I
I didn't
know.
listen to it yet, but
It's not bad.
he's been putting out some shit. I haven't been a fan of all of it, not gonna lie, but there has been some stuff mixed in between here. Like his verse on Type Shit's fire.
Bro, his verse
There's
on Type
definitely been
Shit.
there's been some singles that he's released on a random Tuesday that I've been like, this might have been able to wait, but he's had some bright spots.
And
which is fun. I mean, either way, like I'm just glad that he's back out there. Like, even though he's low key a freak, I'm glad that he's just back out there putting music.
Yeah, his verse on Type Shit is insane. His flows on Type Shit go literally crazy. Like
Yeah.
I'm not a big Playboy Cardi fan, but bro, like I give credit where credit's due. Like he went crazy on that track. And
Yeah.
bro, listen, as the resident Travis Scott homer on this podcast,
Yep.
dude, first off, Travis's verse on type shit is otherworldly. Like if you are sitting in a dark room with your fucking eyes closed, it feels like you're fucking floating. Like that shit was so hard. I loved it. The Cinderella verse was fucking insane. And then I forget what song they have him doing harmonizing in the background of the one. Travis and Metro and Future, every single time they link up, don't miss.
So good.
Travis
So
and
good.
Metro do not miss. So this album scratched every itch that I had that I needed because I've
Correct.
still only been listening to Utopia. So like getting this album, like I've literally been walking around wearing sunglasses with like my chest puffed out.
We needed this. We've been waiting a long time, and I've been just trying to scrounge up any snippet that I can, and it feels good that I don't have to listen to a snippet that I downloaded from a random website.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's a good feeling. With that being said, I believe we're getting another album.
Yes.
Is that correct?
In like 2 weeks.
One thing that I have always admired about Future is when he's like in that zone of dropping music, like you could get 3 albums in 3 weeks. And I think that's so sick. We saw that happen. It was 2 albums. We saw that happen with Hendrix and I forget what the other one was called.
The one with like
the yellow cover.
Yeah, like bang,
Yeah,
like Mask Off, like
yes,
I'm So
yes.
Groovy, like crazy songs.
Correct.
And
yeah, like when we got that was back to back weeks, and I'm still we got a piece of one, and I'm like, I want the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like I want the whole thing. I forget what he says. That shit was so funny.
He said, "I'm tired of just a piece. I want the whole load." Something crazy.
I want the whole load. No, like I think you hit it right on the head with Future. Like there's been notorious stories that like Future just like flat doesn't leave the studio, and like he's like locked in the studio, like recording music like crazy. So first off, he drops Travis drops a ton of leaks on SoundCloud and YouTube and stuff like that. Future drops a ton of leaks on SoundCloud and YouTube and stuff like that. And a lot of the times you're like, damn, this is a throwaway. Like that's crazy. Like, so for a fact that he's got a ton of music chopped up with Metro, with whoever else. I hope more with Travis, but like, bro, yeah, like I'm ready. I'm ready for more. I want the whole load.
That's right. Yeah. Shit. What was I just going to say? Oh. I mean, this kind of goes back to the beef thing. I forgot to mention it when we were talking about that, but I want to know where the narrative came from that it's Drake, J. Cole, and like Kendrick Lamar as like the 3 best, because I just don't understand where that came from. Like Drake has honestly had a generational run, but after like Kendrick Lamar's last good album was Swimming Pools. J. Cole,
Good Kid, Mad City.
Oh yeah, sorry. But J. Cole had really good stuff when he was younger, and then I think the last good thing that he put out was 2014 Forest Hill Drives, and even that was not like holy
crazy.
Shit.
Yeah,
I don't understand where where that came from. Who decided that it was those 3? Was it like I think Drake is for sure up there, but we talked about this earlier. I think it's Future and Travis that are Future and Travis are the 3 best right now, and frankly, I don't think it's close.
I don't think it's close either. I'm in lockstep with that take. Like I think Drake is the clear one. I'm extremely critical of Drake. Drake is the clear one of this hip hop shit. Then if you go based from 2014 to now, like Future and Travis by far having entirely bigger impact, even at Kendrick and Cole's hype, than Kendrick and Cole do. The reasoning why that people are like so up in arms about that is because they're like, oh, like their pen, like their pen's different, like blah blah blah. It's like, respectfully, like, okay, whatever, the pen's cool, and like it's cool to hear some cool verses every once in a while, but like they don't feed their fans, they don't feed the culture, they don't feed anybody. They barely drop music, and like J. Cole, this is the first time he's been outside of the house in a decade with this with this tour with Drake. So I don't see how that is the case either, other than like they like the upside of them and their talent whenever they decide to get in the studio and make music. But like there's really people at like somebody like Travis Scott, and we've talked about this during his rollout. Like Travis feeds his fans. Like Travis is like making sure that like he gives them shoes, clothes, blah blah blah, this, that, and the third. Drake gives his fans Nocta, shoes, this, that, and the third, and then Future gives us like legitimately like club anthems and like really big songs every single time that he comes out and decides to release. So like, and they make the best music, like consensus. Like they have really great albums. They have the best individual songs as well. I don't think it's close that those three, Travis, Drake, and Future, are like the last 10, 15 years. Like those are the guys.
I'll say this. I thought that Damn, the Kendrick Lamar album, but this was in 2017. I thought there was some good ones on there. But am I still listening to any of them today? No, but I know at the time that was something that this was an album where I would pop it on here and there, and I'd be like, "Oh, this is good." But like I'm looking through some of the rest of this, pick like the Black Panther the album. Like I've never ever been a fan of albums that are inspired by movies or like movie soundtracks. So like I can't even consider that anything. And then after that, it's Miles Morales or Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I don't even think I might have listened to one song on this, and there's 3 discs, so it's 19 songs. I'm not moved. This doesn't do it for me. And then even like he has what to pimp
a butterfly.
Yeah, like I'm sorry, like it's just not there. It's not. Oh, and then he has that Untitled Unmastered from even before Damn, where it's just all different songs of named Untitled. To Pimp a Butterfly. Yeah, this isn't good. Get me out of here. Get out of here. Like I get it. Like if you like Kendrick Lamar, fine, but you're somebody that loves Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
And I think that it's an acquired taste at this point, because realistically he's put out 2 good albums, but because To Pimp a Butterfly had like I don't even know. Like I can think of like 2 songs maybe on here that I've heard, but I don't know. It's just not hitting for me.
I'm completely with you. I can't name a J. Cole album outside of 2014 Forest Hills Drive. So I don't understand why like everybody just like randomly decided to like big up J. Cole and like put him on this like pedestal. But they just, like I said, what I really look for is like people who like feed their fans with music and other stuff. Like they don't do that. Like they're like selfish almost in a way. Like we're like, I got stuff going on, like blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, so does Drake, so does Travis, and so does Future, and they put out classics all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, the other album that J. Cole came out with was back in 2021, the Off Season, which I do remember this song with Lil Baby. That wasn't too bad, but like, and another one with 21 Savage, but I mean, none of those songs are in my rotation, nor do I really think they lasted in my rotation at the time for like more than a month. Like I'm still going back and listening to old Future. I'm still going back listening to old Travis. Those guys are, and old Drake, of course. Those guys are in my rotation no matter how old their shit is.
No, no matter how, like, I still bump Rodeo, I still bump Astro World. Drake's old stuff is timeless. I'm still bumping 56 Nights. I'm still bumping DS2. I'm still bumping What a Time to Be Alive. I'm still bumping Purple Rain. Like, I'm still bumping
Like who you like. I like who you like. If you are a Kendrick, J. Cole fan, that's great. But I just need to get to the bottom of who said it was those three at the top of all of this.
Like I said, I think what it comes down to is everybody likes their pen whenever they decide to pull it out and write like a cool verse. But like
Everybody likes their pen when they decide to whip it out.
There's more there's more to like music, in my humble opinion, than just like a fire verse that has like a deeper meaning like every once in a while. Like,
yeah, go listen to Currency if you want to hear that. Go listen to old rap. I'd rather listen to old rap than fucking J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar talk about the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice.
So like, but from the Kendrick diss on this album, like I said, it was whatever. It was a clever line, but like Kendrick's argument to say like, I'm better than Drake, your catalog is the light pack, like, but like that's just like, it's just not true. Like, Drake is quite literally bigger, better than you in every single way possible, has better verses than you, like has won actual like battles like in the field during like a battle rap more than you. Like, he literally destroyed, like, Meek Mill's career has like quite literally has like never been the same ever since that. Like I've never seen Kendrick do that. So like neither J. Cole. So like when Drake wants to, like, Drake can literally make it. Like, I remember being at parties and people playing back to back, like Drake really like can do it if he wants to. Like, so I don't really see how Kendrick can compare himself to Drake in any way, shape, or form.
I can't either. I mean, every time Drake puts out an album, even if not everybody likes it, it feels like more people like it than whenever Kendrick puts it out an album, and it stays in rotation longer. And maybe it doesn't have the same messaging that Kendrick Lamar's albums have, but at the end of the day, it seems like people want to listen to what Drake puts out more than what Kendrick puts out.
I'm right with you. So listen, we talked about a lot right there, but to round out the conversation,
it needed to have that conversation.
Yeah.
I'm searching for you if you are the person that put out the J. Cole, Drake, and Kendrick as the top three. You're on my hit list.
Yeah, oh, no doubt. And
I won't sleep.
And real quick, We Don't Trust You is there's 10 to 12 bangers on this album. No questions asked. And
yeah,
like I told you this. Sprack texted me and was like, yeah, there's no heat on it. Like, nobody will be even thinking about this by summer. It's like, all right, like, you didn't like Utopia. Utopia outsold your favorite rapper's brand new album last month. It sold like 60K. So like,
yeah,
Utopia has already proven to last the test of times. And then you'd have Future and Metro drop like literally like just fed us. And then like you sit around and be like, there's no heat on the album. You don't like rap music. You do not like rap music if that's the case, because there's been some like legitimately like game changing albums that have dropped. And if you can't appreciate that, then like you just don't like music.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. There's been literally the bit, like, when you think of rap music, those Travis, Drake, Future, those guys all come to your mind. And the fact that we've gotten an album from 2 out of 3 of them within the last, I don't even remember when Utopia came out, 8 months.
Yeah, like in the summer, like right before the summer started, or like middle of summer.
Yeah. So, all right. So within the last year, we've been able to get 2 out. I mean, we even got it like within the last year, we've got an album from all 3 of those guys. And you're telling me you don't like any of the songs that are on any of those albums? Like,
you don't like music. I even listen. I I criticize For All the Dogs, but I still like some songs on there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's totally fine. And I mean, maybe those three guys aren't your favorite, but like for you to sit there and just say that there's no bangers on any of those three albums, then just listen to R&B.
Go listen to Chris Brown's 77 song album.
Bro, that was actually my worst nightmare when I saw that come out. I threw my phone across the room the day that I saw that Chris Brown came out with a new album, and it was 75 songs. He put out a 35-song Christmas album.
Listen, and that's
might have
what
been 50.
that was Sprack's main point, where he was like, all these rappers, all they do is just drop shit to make money. Like, brother, like that is a money grab. Like,
you don't put out a 75-song album if you aren't trying to make money.
Don't even. I don't even like. I like legitimately like. I don't know if this is like a hot take or not. Like, I don't even have one. Like, I don't listen to like any Chris Brown songs. I don't have. I like legit like can go through my phone and I don't have a singular Chris Brown song on any of my playlists.
It's actually funny that this came up because I was listening to the One Future album and Chris Brown is on it on the song Pie, and it's fire, but it's just a Chris Brown feature and it's the Future album. But I mean, outside of that, I don't think I have any Chris Brown songs either.
Like even
I can't even think of the last like time that I have requested. I mean, it must have been that song or like requested a song with Chris Brown on it. It was probably that song with Future or when him and Drake came out with
No Guidance.
Yeah, that was probably it.
Yeah. I'm literally right with you. I can't name 5 Chris Brown songs.
Not since 2020.
No, not ever.
Well, like Run It, that one was good. When we were young bulls.
Not ever. What, when I was 10?
Okay. Yeah, that's what I said, when we were young bulls.
Like, fuck Chris Brown.
Let me see here. Oh, okay. Actually, this one is good. There's one. He actually put out an album with Young Thug, and there was like 1 or 2 good ones on there. I will give him credit for that. That was the era when we were getting all the collab albums. We got the 21 Metro, we got the Drake Future, we got the Future and Juice WRLD. People forget.
World on Drugs.
World on Drugs. Yeah. Low-key fire. But yeah, then man. Chris Brown, and this album was drastically underwhelming. I thought it was going to be really good, but it was not. Oh, we got the Gunna and Lil Baby album at the same time too.
Listen, we can talk about the Lil Baby fall off at another time, but that guy's been so disappointing, bro. Like, he tried to call himself the next Lil Wayne and has been so bad.
Crazy stamping yourself with legitimately one of the best rappers of all time. But I will say that Gunna is back.
No, he is back. I'll give it to him. He bounced back for sure.
I think Gunna was writing for Baby at one point.
I think that's confirmed. I think Baby said that in a.
Did he?
Yeah. Did he?
Okay, well, good, because it did. Or did he? Nah, that makes sense because
bro,
since that. Go ahead.
What's that one Drewski clip where he's like, "No, baby, you don't even know Baby, and the baby, you know what I'm talking about?
Real step and drown in the ocean." That one.
No,
where he's like walking outside.
No, it's like one of his skits where he's like talking about like how like people will like ride for rappers that they don't even know, and like it's like him and his boys sitting inside of the crib, and he's like, "Man, Baby been for PF." Like, you don't even know what you're talking about. Like,
yes.
I gotta find that clip, bro. That shit is so fucking funny. But
yeah, I need you to send me that when you find it.
But yeah, I mean that's all I have, unless if you got something else that you got going on that you want to talk about. But I'm chilling.
No, I'm glad to be back. I'm sorry that you got mad at me for last week, but
bro, I don't know what happened. I just don't understand what happened. I just don't.
I don't either.
I don't know. I thought we recorded, but we didn't. But welcome back. It feels good. I'll have this up tonight, and it'll be super clickbaity.
I love it. All right, that's all I got for you.
All right, see you, brother.
All right, go Birds, go Tar Heels.